Okay, so the last thing that we're going to do, and like I mentioned before, ignore all this, ignore all it, ignore all of it. So we were looking at the descriptive statistics, and we noticed that it's the same descriptive stats that we used at the very beginning of the video. What's that? Rap, rap. Um, so really just breaking it down. Essentially what this particular interaction notes is that, and I wrote it down here. Hold up. Hold it somewhere. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Because that was the best explanation I had put for it. Ignore this. This is for something else. So essentially, what it does, it takes into consideration the previous interaction that we just introduced. So that was the rudeness in the social class, and essentially what it's saying is that uh, the interaction is different in male and female participants. So this means all it's saying is that there's a gender difference. And even though looking at the descriptive stats, I think it'd be a lot more helpful if we look at the graph. Okay, yeah, no, never mind. I'm sorry. Uh, so just looking at male participants across the board, you see that individuals who were in low class had high ratings of attractiveness, but those who were not rude, well, actually even really this one, 88.5, yeah. So it's getting a little mixy here, but whatever. Not but whatever. Low key whatever, but yeah. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is that um male participants who had dates who were of low class and who were not rude but even moderately rude were given higher attractiveness ratings than those who were than those who were just rude. And you see that. Well, actually, hold up. Never mind. With this particular group, you're actually seeing an increase, a slight increase. So scratch that. Essentially, individuals, male participants who had dates who were low class and rude, are levels of rudeness increase. Levels of not levels of attractiveness actually goes up. But yet, when you move into middle class, you actually see a decrease in attractiveness. Even though individuals who are not rude were given an 83% attractiveness rating, that's still lower than dates who were in the low class and who were not rude at all, or who were not rude. So this suggests that as you move along, or as you increase in social class, you actually see a decrease in attractiveness ratings, and it also follows with individuals being not rude as well, with the levels of rudeness as well. But yeah, for female participants, you see something a little bit different. Well, not really, but we'll get into that. So with females who were female participants who were of low class but not rude, they were given an 89.6. Let me reword that. Female participants rated their dates who were of low class and not rude as 89.6, so 90, and that's higher than those who are moderately rude and those who were also assholes. But you start to see the same trend when you go through middle class, or as you increase in class. However, regardless, when you take into account the not rude, women actually gave them similar ratings. So just kind of putting it into context here. Okay. And looking at the male portion, what you see is it doesn't matter if you were not rude, moderately rude, or an asshole. If you were in that lower class, so for males across the board, they rated them very similarly. The only time it makes a difference is whenever their date. The only time it made a difference is when their date was in middle class and even was in upper class. And then even further, you see a sharper difference when the middle class dates and the upper class dates were assholes. So really what kicks it off for males is those who are just moderately rude. And then it goes downhill when you're just an asshole. Now for women, however, women rated similarly across the board. Well, you're seeing something completely different for women, because in that case now it's social class that makes a difference. So women rated those who are of low class, middle class, and upper class states similarly if they were not rude. So that means women were able to women rated those who were, regardless of if their date was in low class, middle class, or upper class, they were seen as more attractive if they were nicer, if they were not rude. However, when you see a stark change when when their dates were moderately rude, and then you see even sharper a decrease in attractiveness when they were just rude. So for men, it doesn't really matter the level of rudeness. Well, actually, it does. For men, how can I word this nicely without being mean about it? So all across the board for men, it doesn't matter if you were rude, if you were not rude, moderately rude, or an asshole. If you were in that lower class, then you were rated as more attractive. And when you get into the social context of things, I'm wondering why that would be. But like I said before, this is fake data, so don't go ahead and say, "Oh, this is what she's saying." No, I'm not saying that at all. And just looking at in the context of social in the social context, you would think that it would be the very much opposite, but it's not. But for women, it's all about the level of rudeness. So those are some interesting findings with this interaction. So essentially, what the main picture of what this is painting, the main painting for this is painting picture. The whole picture of this interaction is saying that there are gender differences that exist in the participants' rating for when it involves level of rudeness in social class. So men, when you're looking at social class and rudeness, you see that across the board, social class was more of an influence. Whereas with women, it was the level of rudeness. And so now just looking at our effect sizes, and this is the last portion. Thank you, Jesus. So here we have our effect sizes, and this is in respect to the upper. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? To our contrast that we have set. Is it here? Is it these ones? Oh yeah, date model, date model. Yes, it is of these ones. Because that was the date model. Yeah. Nope, nope. Where is it? Here it is. Woohoo. Okay, let's see if I can go in this in order. Whew. Okay, so really taking into account, you see that rudeness does have some form of influence on uh, rudeness has some form of influence on what was I saying? I lost my train of thought. Oh, rudeness has some form of effect on has a main effect on ratings of attractiveness. And you also, and it appears to be fairly strong. Same goes for gender, even though that was non-significant. Class, and when you account for the interactions, you see kind of it's getting kind of lower, and then it increases. So the overall message for this analysis, we can conclude that uh, there are gender differences that do exist when it comes to levels of attractiveness, or not levels of attractiveness, ratings of attractiveness, when you take into account social class and levels of rudeness. And that's just the three-way interaction that I just described. And if you do want to look further or just look at the context, uh, you can break down those main effects. So I think there's something really interesting about looking at those main effects and those other interaction effects, because they can capture something that is that can't really be captured through the interaction effects or that through interaction. So just across the board, men appear. The results suggest that men uh, rated lower class dates as more attractive across the board, regardless if they were rude assholes or just not rude at all. But for women, uh, women actually women rated women women cared about the levels of rudeness. Um, and I'm not trying to sound condescending when I say that, but the results show that women actually rated those who were not rude as more attractive than those who were moderately rude or just an asshole, and that was irregardless of social class. So in a sense, it seems like the way that the results are, it suggests that men were more influenced by social class, whereas women were more influenced by levels of rudeness. So that takes us to the end of our video. I hope you stayed with me throughout all of these videos. I know my professor did because he has to grade them. But yeah, thanks. If you're actually looking for more tips, I'm a beginner at R. So, and I'm pretty sure there are a lot more people, experts, that are able to assist you better if you're actually looking for this video for tips. The main thing that I do want to stress is just practice, because I practiced with this one as much as I could. And there may be some errors here that I miss, some things that I may have misinterpreted. But the takeaway message from that is, if you see, well, the takeaway message is do the things that I do wrong. Don't do the things that I do wrong. So those are the things of what not to do. And that's pretty much it.